I'm Daniel, a 42-year-old architect with a penchant for clean lines and ordered spaces. My life with Claire, my wife of 15 years, felt like one of my designs. Structured, beautiful, reliable. We lived in a restored Victorian in Portland, its gabled roof and stained glass windows a testament to our shared love for timeless things. Claire, a curator at a local gallery, had an eye for beauty that matched my own. Our daughter, Lila, 10, was the heartbeat of our home, her laughter echoing through the halls. Mornings were rituals. Coffee brewed in our French press, Claire's playlists filling the kitchen, Lila's chatter about school. I thought I knew every corner of our life, every shadow cast by our routines. But shadows hide things. Started subtly, like a crack in a foundation you don't notice until the walls buckle. Claire's phone, once an afterthought on the counter, became a constant companion. She tilted away when I passed, her fingers quick to lock the screen. At first, I chalked it up to work. Galleries thrive on connections, after all. But her laughter changed. It wasn't the warm, open sound I'd loved since our college days at Reed. It was guarded, private, shared with someone I couldn't see. Late nights at the gallery stretched longer. She'd come home with smudged mascara, her perfume faintly overlaid with something unfamiliar. Cologne, maybe, or the scent of a stranger's car. I tried to ask gently over dinner one night, "You seem distracted, love. Everything okay at work?" Her eyes flickered, a deer caught in headlights, before she smiled too brightly. "Just a big exhibit coming up. Stressful." Lila was at her friend's, so it was just us, the clink of forks loud in the silence. I wanted to believe her. I did. But the air felt heavy, like the moment before a storm breaks. That night, she fell asleep quickly, her back to me, and I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering when our bed had grown so wide. The next morning, I found her phone unattended while she showered. My hands shook as I picked it up. Her passcode, Lila's birthday, unlocked it easily. Messages glowed on the screen. A name I didn't know. Ethan. "Missed you last night," one read. "Can't wait for Thursday." My stomach twisted, a cold weight settling there. I scrolled, each word a shard. "You make me feel alive. Daniel doesn't notice?" Our secret. The shower stopped, and I set the phone down, my heart hammering. Claire emerged, towel-wrapped, humming. She kissed my cheek, oblivious to the fracture she'd just caused. I smiled, but inside, something hardened. I wasn't just her husband anymore. I was a man betrayed, and the blueprint of our life was burning. The days after finding those messages were a masterclass in pretense. I woke each morning, kissed Claire's forehead, poured her coffee, and drove Lila to school, all while a storm churned inside me. My office, a sleek space downtown where I drafted plans for eco-friendly buildings, became my refuge. I'd stare at my computer, blueprints blurring as Ethan's name looped in my mind. Who was he? A gallery donor? An artist? I didn't know, but his shadow loomed over every moment. Claire's touch, once a comfort, now felt like a lie. Her smiles were performances, and I was the unwitting audience. I started watching her, cataloging the discrepancies. She'd leave for meetings in dresses I hadn't seen before, their hemlines bolder than her usual style. Her phone was never far, buzzing with notifications she'd check when she thought I wasn't looking. Once, I saw her typing furiously, a flush on her cheeks, before she caught my eye and slipped the phone into her purse. "Work stuff," she said too quickly. I nodded, my jaw tight. Lila, bless her, was oblivious, her world still made of soccer games and art projects. I envied her ignorance. I needed proof, something undeniable. So I became a detective in my own marriage. I checked our bank statements online, finding charges at a boutique hotel downtown. $200 here, $300 there, dates aligning with her late nights. I cross-referenced her gallery's calendar. No events matched those evenings. My architect's mind, trained to see patterns, saw too much. I installed a tracking app on her phone, hidden in a system update she'd never notice. It was invasive, yes, but so was her betrayal. The app pinged her at that hotel twice in a week, each visit hours long. I confronted her one night after Lila was asleep. "Claire, where were you last Tuesday?" I asked, keeping my voice even. She was on the couch, wineglass in hand, her face a mask of calm. "At the gallery, prepping for the modernist show." The lie was smooth, practiced. I wanted to scream, to shake the truth out of her, but I didn't. Instead, I said, "Sounds exhausting," and went to bed. She joined me later, her body close but untouchable. I lay there, planning. Revenge wasn't a word I used lightly, but it was growing, a seed in the rubble of my trust. By week's end, I had a name and a face. Ethan Caldwell, 38, a photographer whose work hung in Claire's gallery. His Instagram was public, full of moody portraits and cityscapes. And there, in a tagged photo, was Claire, laughing at a gallery opening, his arm around her waist. The caption, "Inspiration." My hands clenched. Inspiration. I'd show them both what inspiration looked like when it turned to ash. I've always believed that good design solves problems, whether it's a building's flow or a city's sprawl. Now, my problem was Claire and Ethan, and I approached it with the same precision. Revenge, I decided, wouldn't be loud or impulsive. It would be surgical, a structure built to collapse at the perfect moment. I spent hours in my office, sketching not buildings but plans, each step a line in a blueprint for their undoing. My anger wasn't just about her betrayal. It was about the theft of my reality, the mockery of our vows. I'd make them feel that loss magnified. First, I gathered more evidence. The tracking app showed Claire's visits to Ethan's loft in the Pearl District, a trendy area of converted warehouses. I drove there one evening, parking across the street. Her car was in the lot, unmistakable with its gallery sticker. I waited, my camera, a hobbyist DSLR, ready. At 9:47 p.m. undersigned, they emerged, her hand in his, her laugh carrying across the quiet street. I snapped photos, the shutters click, a small victory. They kissed, long and unguarded, before she drove away. The images were sharp, undeniable, each one a brick in my case. I researched Ethan next. His website boasted awards, but his finances told a different story. Public records showed a lien on his loft, unpaid taxes piling up. Claire's gallery was his lifeline, her curation his ticket to relevance. She wasn't just cheating. She was propping up his career, likely funneling our money into his shows. Our joint account had unexplained withdrawals, small but frequent, matching his exhibit dates. The gall of it, using my earnings to fund her affair, lit a new fire in me. I began planting seeds of disruption. I emailed the gallery's board anonymously, hinting at financial irregularities tied to Ethan's exhibits. I used a burner account, untraceable, and kept it vague but damning. Let them dig, I thought. I also contacted a journalist friend, Sarah, who covered the art scene. Over coffee, I fed her a tip about favoritism at Claire's gallery, suggesting she look into Ethan's funding. Sarah's eyes lit up. She loved a scandal. I played the concerned citizen, not the wronged husband. She'd never suspect me. At home, I kept up the charade. Claire noticed my distance, asking once, "Are you okay, Dan? You seem off." I smiled, touching her hand. "Just work stress. You know how it is." She relaxed, believing the lie. Lila's presence kept us civil, her drawings and hugs a reminder of what I was fighting for. But alone, I was a man possessed, my nights spent refining my plan. Ethan and Claire thought they were untouchable, their secret safe. They were wrong. I was building something they'd never see coming, and its collapse would bury them both. The gallery board's investigation started quietly, but I could see its ripples. Claire came home tense, her phone calls clipped and urgent. "It's just a misunderstanding," she told me one night, pacing the kitchen. "Some anonymous tip about budget issues." I nodded, feigning concern, while inside I cheered. The journalist, Sarah, was sniffing around too. She'd emailed Ethan for comment, and his social media went silent, his usual stream of smug posts drying up. Claire's stress was palpable, her affair's foundation shaking under scrutiny. I felt no guilt. She'd built this house of lies, I was just exposing its flaws. I escalated my surveillance. Using a spare key, I checked Claire's car while she slept, finding a receipt for lingerie, black lace, not my taste, bought the day before her last late night. It was tucked in the glove box, careless. I photographed it, adding it to my dossier. I also hacked her email, guessing her password, Lila's name, predictably. There, buried in a folder labeled Miscellaneous, were messages from Ethan, gushing about their stolen moments and planning a weekend getaway. My blood boiled, but I stayed methodical, forwarding the emails to a private account. Evidence was my currency now. I began to sabotage their world subtly. I called the hotel they frequented, posing as Ethan's assistant, and canceled their standing reservation, citing personal issues. The next day, Claire was furious, muttering about unreliable staff while texting Ethan. I smirked, imagining his confusion. I also sent an anonymous package to Ethan's loft, a printout of their hotel receipts with a note, "Secrets don't stay hidden." I didn't sign it. Let him sweat, wondering who knew. Claire's paranoia grew. She started checking the locks twice, her eyes darting when her phone pinged. At home, I played the dutiful husband, cooking dinners, helping Lila with homework. Claire's gratitude felt hollow, her affection a performance. One night, she initiated intimacy, her hands tentative. I went through the motions, but it was mechanical, my mind on the photos of her with Ethan. Afterward, she slept, and I stared at the ceiling, plotting. Lila was my anchor, her innocence a shield against my rage. I'd protect her, no matter the cost. Claire and Ethan could burn, but Lila would be spared. By now, my plan was taking shape, a multi-pronged assault. The gallery's board was auditing Ethan's contracts. Sarah's article was in draft, and my evidence was a fortress. Photos, emails, receipts, all time-stamped. But I wanted more than exposure. I wanted them to feel the weight of their choices, to lose what they valued most. For Claire, it was her reputation. For Ethan, his career. I was an architect, after all, and I was designing their ruin with precision, brick by devastating brick. The gallery's audit was gaining traction, and Claire's composure was fraying. She'd snap at Lila over small things. Spilled juice, a loud toy, then apologize, her eyes glassy. I stayed calm, the eye of her storm, offering hugs and reassurances while my mind churned. Sarah's article was nearly ready. She'd called me, excited, saying it would shake up the art scene. I urged her to dig deeper into Ethan's finances, suggesting a public records search. She took the bait, unaware she was my pawn. The noose was tightening, but I wasn't done building. I decided to confront Ethan, not directly, but through his world. I found his next exhibit's venue, a chic space in Northwest Portland, and contacted the owner anonymously. I sent photos of Claire and Ethan together, along with a note. "Your featured artist is compromising the gallery's integrity. Reconsider his show." The owner replied, promising to look into it. 2 days later, Ethan's exhibit was postponed, citing logistical issues. Claire was livid, ranting about sabotage over dinner. I listened, my face neutral while my heart sang. Their perfect bubble was popping. I also targeted Claire's social standing. She prided herself on her role in Portland's art elite, her name synonymous with taste. I created a fake profile on a local arts forum, posting vague but pointed gossip about a curator mixing personal and professional lines. The thread exploded, with users speculating about Claire's gallery. She saw it. I caught her reading it, pale on her laptop, and her confidence waned. She started canceling lunches with colleagues, her world shrinking. I felt a grim satisfaction. She'd made me invisible in our marriage. Now I was making her transparent. My evidence was now a vault. Hundreds of photos, emails, texts, even audio from a tiny recorder I'd hidden in her purse, capturing her gushing to Ethan about leaving soon. That one hurt, a knife to the gut, but it fueled me. I met with a lawyer discreetly to discuss divorce and custody. Lila would stay with me. Claire's instability was documented, her affair a liability. The lawyer was optimistic, but I didn't want just a clean break. I wanted Claire and Ethan to face the wreckage they'd caused. I planned the final strike, a public unveiling. The gallery's annual gala was in 2 weeks, a black tie event where Claire would shine as curator. I'd be there, smiling by her side, while my trap sprang. I'd compiled a slideshow, her emails, their photos, the receipts, set to play on the gala's projector during her speech. Sarah's article would drop the same day, a 1-2 punch. Ethan's career would crumble, Claire's reputation would shatter, and I'd walk away with Lila, our life rebuilt. As I finalized the files, my hands steady, I felt like an architect at the peak of creation, my design ready to change everything. The days leading to the gallery gala were a study in tension. Claire was a whirlwind of nervous energy, obsessing over every detail. Catering, lighting, the guest list. She barely noticed me. Her focus split between salvaging her reputation and soothing Ethan, whose postponed exhibit had left him rattled. I played my part flawlessly, helping her choose table linens, offering to pick up her gown from the cleaners. "You're a lifesaver, Dan," she said, her smile brittle. I nodded, my own smile a mask. She had no idea the gala would be her undoing, a stage I'd rigged to collapse beneath her. I finalized the slideshow, a devastating montage of her betrayal. It started innocently, photos of Claire at gallery events, smiling professionally, then shifted to the truth. Her with Ethan, their stolen kisses, screenshots of her emails promising him forever. I added the receipts, the lingerie purchase, the hotel charges, each slide a nail in her coffin. The audio was the crescendo, her voice confessing her plans to leave me, looped over a black screen. I tested it on my laptop, the images flickering in my dark office, and felt a cold thrill. This wasn't just revenge. It was art, a narrative of her lies exposed. I coordinated with Sarah, who was giddy about her article's impact. "It's dropping the morning of the gala," she told me over coffee. "Ethan's finances are a mess, shady loans, unpaid vendors. And Claire's been funneling gallery funds to prop him up." I feigned shock, urging her to name names. She would, she said, and the art world would eat it up. I also tipped off the venue's tech crew, posing as a gallery assistant, ensuring my slideshow would accidentally play during Claire's speech. They were clueless, happy to load my USB drive. The trap was set, every piece in place. At home, Lila kept me grounded. She'd chatter about her science fair project, oblivious to the storm brewing. I hugged her tighter, promising silently to shield her from the fallout. Claire, meanwhile, was unraveling. She'd forget simple things, Lila's soccer practice, my coffee order, and her phone was a constant distraction. Once, I caught her texting Ethan in the bathroom, her face flushed. "Work," she lied when I knocked. I didn't push. Let her think she was safe. Her world was a house of cards, and I held the fan. The night before the gala, Claire tried to bridge our distance. She poured us wine, her hand lingering on mine. "I know I've been distracted, Dan. I'm sorry." Her eyes searched mine, almost sincere. For a moment, I wavered, remembering our early years. Late-night talks, her laugh in the rain. But then I saw Ethan's name in my mind, her emails, her lies. "It's okay," I said, my voice steady. "Tomorrow's a big night." She smiled, relieved, unaware it was her last night of ignorance. The gala was a glittering affair, Portland's art elite packed into the gallery's soaring space. Crystal chandeliers cast warm light over white tablecloths, the air thick with perfume and ambition. Claire was radiant in a navy gown, her hair swept up, every inch the poised curator. I wore my best suit, shaking hands, playing the supportive husband. Guests praised Claire's vision, unaware of the bomb I'd planted. Lila was with her grandparents, safe from the chaos I was about to unleash. My heart pounded, but my face was calm, a blueprint of control. Claire mingled, her laughter forced, her eyes scanning for Ethan. He arrived late, his suit rumpled, his usual swagger dimmed. The anonymous package I'd sent, the hotel receipts, had clearly shaken him. He avoided me, sticking to the bar, but I caught Claire's glance at him, a flicker of longing. It fueled my resolve. The tech crew confirmed my USB was loaded, set to play when Claire took the stage. Sarah was there too, notebook in hand, her article already live online. I'd seen it that morning. Curator's favoritism, scandal rocks local gallery. Claire hadn't checked her phone yet. She would soon. The evening unfolded smoothly. Cocktails, a string quartet, speeches from the board. Claire was last, her moment to shine. As she prepared, I chatted with guests, my pulse steady. A board member mentioned the audit, whispering about irregularities. Claire's name wasn't said, but it hung in the air. I nodded gravely, my architect's mind noting every crack in her facade. Ethan, meanwhile, was cornered by a donor, his face pale. Sarah hovered nearby, her pen moving. The room was a chessboard, and I was moving the pieces. Claire took the stage, her smile dazzling under the spotlight. "Thank you all for supporting our vision," she began, her voice clear. The projector hummed behind her, my slideshow waiting. I stood near the back, wineglass in hand, my eyes on the screen. Guests clapped, unaware of the shift coming. Claire spoke of art's power, her passion genuine, and for a fleeting second, I saw the woman I'd loved. But then I remembered her lies, Ethan's touch, the life she'd planned without me. My finger brushed the remote in my pocket, a backup trigger for the tech crew. It was time. As Claire thanked the board, I nodded to the tech lead, who hit play. The screen flickered, her professional headshot fading to the first damning image. Her and Ethan, arms entwined, at his loft. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Claire froze, her mouth open. As the slideshow rolled, emails, receipts, her voice echoing, "I'll leave him soon." The room spun into chaos. Guests whispering, phones out, recording. Claire's eyes found mine, wide with horror. I met her gaze, unblinking, and felt the first rush of victory. Her world was falling, and I was the architect of its ruin. The gala dissolved into pandemonium. Claire stumbled off the stage, her gown trailing, as guests buzzed like hornets. The slideshow looped, each image a fresh wound. Her emails to Ethan, the lingerie receipt, their hotel trysts. Her voice played again, "Daniel doesn't notice," and the crowd's murmurs grew. Ethan tried to slip out, but Sarah blocked him, her recorder thrust forward. "Care to comment on the allegations?" she asked, her voice sharp. He mumbled something and fled, the door slamming behind him. Claire was cornered by the board chair, her face ashen, her hands shaking. I stayed calm, a rock in the storm. Guests approached me, offering pitying looks, their words a blur. "So sorry, Daniel." "How could she?" I thanked them, my voice low, playing the betrayed husband to perfection. Inside, I was electric, every nerve alive with the thrill of execution. My plan had worked, better than I'd dreamed. Claire's reputation, her career, her social standing were in tatters, exposed in one brutal moment. Sarah's article was spreading online, trending on local forums, the hashtag gallery scandal gaining traction. I checked my phone discreetly. The comments were merciless. Claire finally reached me, her eyes wild, mascara streaking. "Dan, how could you?" she hissed, her voice breaking. The accusation stung, but I leaned in, my tone ice. "How could I? You made your choices, Claire. I just showed the world." She recoiled, as if slapped, and I turned away, joining a group of sympathetic donors. They didn't know I'd orchestrated it, and they never would. My design was flawless, every line deliberate, every outcome calculated. The board escorted Claire to a back office, their faces grim. I overheard snippets. Suspension, ethics violation. Ethan was gone, his career likely finished. No gallery would touch him now. I left the gala early, citing personal distress. But really, I needed to prepare for the next phase. At home, I poured a whiskey, the house quiet without Lila. I reviewed my evidence, ensuring it was ready for the lawyer. Divorce papers were drafted, custody terms favoring me. Claire's affair, now public, would sway any judge. Lila's future was secure, and that was my true north. Claire didn't come home that night. She texted once. A single word. Why? I didn't reply. Let her stew, I thought. Let her feel the weight of her lies. My phone pinged with updates. Sarah's article had gone viral, art blogs picking it up. Claire's name trending for all the wrong reasons. Ethan's Instagram was deleted, his website down. I sipped my drink, savoring the destruction. But a small part of me, buried deep, ached for the life we'd had, the Claire I'd loved. I pushed it down. She'd chosen this, and I'd built the perfect response. A monument to her betrayal standing tall in the ruins. Claire returned the next morning, her eyes hollow, her gown swapped for jeans and a hoodie. She looked like a ghost of herself, the vibrant curator erased. I was in the kitchen making coffee when she walked in. Lila was still with her grandparents, a mercy I'd arranged. The silence between us was a chasm, her betrayal and my revenge its jagged edges. She set her purse down, her hands trembling, and finally spoke. Dan, we need to talk. Her voice was raw, stripped of its usual confidence. I poured a second cup, sliding it to her, my face unreadable. Talk then. She sat, clutching the mug, and the story spilled out. Not an apology, but a defense. She'd felt trapped in our routine, she said, her passion dulled by domesticity. Ethan was a spark, someone who saw her as more than a wife or mother. I didn't mean to hurt you, she said, tears falling. It just happened. I listened, my jaw tight, her words like salt in a wound. She didn't mention the money she'd funneled, the lies she'd woven, the life she'd planned without me. Her confession was selective, a curated version of her truth. I leaned forward, my voice low. You didn't just hurt me, Claire. You broke our family. You used our money, our home, to fund your escape. And you thought I'd never notice. Her eyes widened, realizing I knew more than she'd thought. I pulled out my phone, showing her one photo, her and Ethan, laughing outside his loft. I noticed everything, I said. She gasped, covering her mouth, but I wasn't done. The gala was just the start. You're suspended, Ethan's finished, and Lila stays with me. You made this bed. She sobbed, begging for forgiveness, but it was too late. My heart, once soft for her, was stone. I stood, leaving her at the table, and went to my office. There, I finalized the divorce papers, emailing them to my lawyer. I also sent my evidence to the board, ensuring Claire's suspension became permanent. Her career, her identity was tied to that gallery. Losing it would cut deeper than any public shame. Ethan, I learned, had left town, his loft listed for sale to cover debts. My anonymous tips had unraveled his world, too. That afternoon, I picked up Lila, her smile a balm. Where's Mom? She asked. I hugged her, saying, she's working through some things, kiddo. We're okay. I'd tell her the truth later, carefully, when the dust settled. For now, I focused on her, on rebuilding our life. Claire's betrayal had shattered my trust, but it had also sharpened my resolve. I was no longer just a husband or father. I was a man who'd reclaimed his power, and I'd never let it be taken again. The weeks after the gala were a strange limbo. Claire moved out, renting a small apartment across town. She fought the divorce at first, her lawyer arguing emotional distress. But my evidence was ironclad. Photos, emails, the gala's fallout. The judge favored me, granting primary custody of Lila. Claire got weekends supervised, her instability noted. Lila struggled, asking why Mommy was gone, and I answered gently, framing it as grown-up choices. She'd learn the full story someday, but not yet. My job was to protect her, to be her constant. I sold our Victorian, its memories too tainted. Lila and I moved to a modern loft, all clean lines and open spaces, a fresh start. I designed it myself, each room a reflection of our new life. Lila's art on the walls, my drafting table by the window. Work kept me busy. My firm won a contract for a sustainable community center, my reputation untouched by Claire's scandal. If anything, I gained sympathy, clients praising my resilience. I didn't correct them, let them think I was a victim, not the engineer of her downfall. Claire's life, meanwhile, crumbled further. The gallery fired her, the board citing gross misconduct. Her name was poison in Portland's art scene. Even her old friends distanced themselves, wary of the scandal's stink. She tried contacting me, leaving voicemails about starting over, but I deleted them. She'd had her chance. Ethan surfaced briefly, spotted in Seattle, but his career was dead, his name linked to fraud and failure. Sarah's article had spread nationally, a case study in art world corruption. I read it, sometimes a reminder of my precision. I focused on Lila, coaching her soccer team, helping with homework. She was my why, the reason I'd fought so hard. But late at night, alone, I'd think of Claire. Not with longing, but with a strange clarity. Her betrayal had forced me to rebuild, to become more than I was. I'd lost a wife but gained a sharper self. A man who could design not just buildings but outcomes. Revenge had been my tool, and I'd wielded it like a draftsman's pen, every stroke deliberate. One evening, Lila asked, "Are you happy, Dad?" I looked at her, her eyes so like Claire's, and smiled. "Getting there, kiddo." And I was. The gala had been my demolition, clearing the site of my old life. Now I was building again, brick by brick, a future for us. Claire and Ethan were footnotes, their choices a cautionary tale. I'd shown them what betrayal cost, and in doing so, I'd reclaimed my story. The architect in me was proud. My greatest project wasn't a building, but this life, rising strong from the ashes of their lies. Life in the new loft was a rhythm I could control, a blueprint I drafted with care. Lila thrived, her laughter filling the open space, her sketches pinned to the fridge. My work on the community center project earned praise, my name in local papers as a visionary architect. But beneath the surface, Claire's shadow lingered, not as regret, but as a reminder of the man I'd become. Her betrayal had forged me, and my revenge had tempered that steel. I checked her life from a distance, not out of longing, but to ensure my design held. Claire was a shell of her former self. Social media, once her playground, was silent. Her profiles were private, her connections dwindled. A mutual friend, unaware of my role, mentioned she'd taken a job at a small bookstore, shelving novels instead of curating masterpieces. The irony was sharp. She traded galleries for dust jackets, her ambition buried under minimum wage. I felt no pity. She'd chosen Ethan, chosen lies, and the gala had been her reckoning. My slideshow, now infamous, still circulated in art circles, a viral ghost haunting her. Ethan's fall was steeper. He'd vanished from Seattle, rumors swirling of bankruptcy. A quick search confirmed his loft sold at a loss, his debts swallowing what little he had. His name, once a byline in glossy magazines, was now a punchline, tied to fraud and scandal. Sarah's article had been picked up by a major outlet, cementing his ruin. I'd heard he was bartending somewhere in California, a far cry from his artist's swagger. My anonymous tips, my package of receipts, had been the first dominoes, and their collapse was total. I kept my role hidden, even from those closest to me. My lawyer, impressed by the evidence, never asked how I'd gathered it. Sarah, now a friend, saw me as a wronged husband, not the mastermind. Lila, my center, knew only that Mommy had made mistakes. I shielded her from the details, but I was preparing her for the truth, bit by bit. One night, she asked, "Will Mom ever be happy again?" I paused, choosing my words. "She's finding her way, kiddo, like we are." It was enough for now. My nights were spent refining our life. I enrolled Lila in art classes, nurturing her talent without Claire's influence. I dated sparingly, a few dinners with a colleague, but my trust was scarred. Claire's betrayal had taught me vigilance, and I guarded my heart as fiercely as I did Lila. Yet, in quiet moments, I'd replay the gala, the gasps, Claire's horror, Ethan's flight, and feel a grim pride. I'd built their downfall with an architect's precision, and it stood as my masterpiece, a monument to justice in a world of lies. A year after the gala, an unexpected crack appeared in my design. Sarah called, her voice tense. Dan, there's a blogger digging into the gala scandal. They're questioning who leaked the slideshow. My pulse quickened, but I kept my tone light. Probably just chasing clicks. It's old news. She wasn't convinced, mentioning the blogger's theory. Someone close to Claire had orchestrated it, not a random whistleblower. I laughed it off, but unease settled in. My plan had been flawless, my tracks covered burner accounts, anonymous tips, no fingerprints. Still, I doubled down, checking my digital trail, ensuring nothing tied back to me. The blogger, a local arts enthusiast named Mia, was persistent. Her posts dissected the gala, noting the slideshow's curated feel, its timing too perfect. She speculated about a personal vendetta, hinting at Claire's husband me, without naming me. I read her blog late at night, Lila asleep, my mind racing. Mia was a threat, not to my freedom, I'd broken no laws, but to my narrative. I was the victim, the steady father, not the avenger. If my role surfaced, it could shift how Lila saw me, how the world did. I countered subtly. Using a new alias, I posted on Mia's blog, suggesting the leak came from a disgruntled gallery intern, jealous of Claire's success. I seeded similar comments on X, stirring the pot. Mia took the bait, pivoting to investigate former staff. I exhaled, the crisis averted, but it was a wake-up call. Revenge, even perfectly executed, left echoes. I need to stay vigilant, my architect's eye scanning for new cracks. Claire, meanwhile, reached out. She mailed a letter, her handwriting shaky, asking to talk. I'm trying to rebuild, Dan. For Lila. Please. I burned it, the ash curling in the sink. She didn't deserve my time, not after her choices. Lila's weekends with her were strained. Claire's apartment a stark contrast to our vibrant loft. Lila confided she felt sad there, and I pushed for less visitation, my lawyer citing Claire's unstable environment. The judge agreed, and Claire's time shrank. She was fading from our lives, a ghost of her own making. I focused on Lila, on us. We took a trip to the coast, her laughter on the beach a balm. She was growing, her questions sharper, but she trusted me. That trust was my foundation, and I'd protect it at all costs. Mia's blog faded from view, her intern theory gaining traction. My secret held, but I knew now. The gala wasn't the end. It was a beginning, a reminder that control required constant maintenance. I was ready, my mind already drafting the next phase, ensuring our life stayed strong, unmarred by the past. 2 years post-gala, Claire made a move I hadn't anticipated. She published a memoir, self-printed, titled Canvas of Mistakes. It was a raw, emotional account of her affair, her fall, and her redemption at the bookstore. She didn't name me directly, calling me her husband, but Lila was mentioned, a bright light in her darkness. The book was small, sold locally, but it stirred the ashes of our scandal. Reviews called it brave, and Claire did a reading at a community center, her face on flyers around town. I was livid. She was rewriting her story, painting herself as a victim. I bought a copy. Reading it in one night, my jaw clenched. Claire admitted her affair, her lies, but framed it as a search for identity, blaming our marriage's stagnation. The gala was a cruel betrayal, she wrote, implying an unnamed enemy had targeted her. No mention of my pain, my discovery, my loss. It was Claire at her curated best, twisting truth to salvage her image. Worst, she wrote about wanting to heal with Lila, hinting at more custody. That was a line I wouldn't let her cross. I considered striking back, exposing her book's half-truths, leaking more evidence, but I paused. Lila was 12 now, old enough to hear whispers, to ask questions. A public feud could hurt her, and she was my priority. Instead, I met with my lawyer, strengthening our custody agreement. Claire's memoir, we argued, showed delusional thinking, unfit for parenting. The judge, swayed by her public airing of family matters, limited her to monthly visits. Lila was relieved, her loyalty firmly with me. Still, the memoir gnawed at me. Claire was clawing back relevance, her bookstore job now a literary haven in local blogs. Ethan, I learned, had contacted her, his own life a wreck. They weren't together, her book called him a fleeting mistake. But their reconnection irked me. I destroyed them once, but they were like weeds, sprouting in the cracks. I didn't act, not yet. My revenge had been perfect, but it wasn't eternal. I needed a new plan, subtle, to keep them down without risking Lila's peace. I took Lila to therapy, ensuring she processed her mother's absence healthily. She was strong, my daughter, but Claire's book had confused her. Mom says she's sorry, Lila told me, eyes searching. I hugged her, saying, "Sorry doesn't erase choices, kiddo. I'm here." She nodded, trusting me. That trust was my cornerstone, and I'd guard it. Claire's memoir was a spark, but I was a firebreak, ready to contain it. My architect's mind was already sketching. A quiet, devastating response, ensuring her story stayed buried where it belonged. Claire's memoir, though small, gave her a platform. She was invited to a local podcast, Artists Unraveled, to discuss her journey. The host fawned over her vulnerability, and Claire leaned in, her voice soft but calculated. She spoke of the gala as a public crucifixion, hinting at a vindictive force behind it. My name wasn't said, but the implication was clear. Listeners ate it up, comments praising her resilience. I listened in my office, my hands clenched. She was rebuilding, brick by brick, and I couldn't let it stand. I didn't rush. Revenge, I'd learned, was a structure, not a reflex. I researched the podcast sponsors, small local businesses, and sent anonymous emails suggesting they'd backed a disgraced curator whose lies hurt families. 2 dropped out, citing values misalignment. The podcast's next episode was delayed. Its momentum stalled. Claire's bookstore readings slowed, too. I tipped off a rival shop who flooded the market with competing events. Her spotlight dimmed, her comeback faltering. Ethan, meanwhile, was back in Portland, working at a dive bar. I found him on X, his posts bitter, railing against haters. He tried contacting Claire, seeking absolution, but she'd rebuffed him, her memoir's narrative needing a clean break. I saw an opportunity. Using a fake account, I messaged Ethan, posing as a sympathetic fan. I fed his ego, then his paranoia, suggesting Claire was using him in her book for sympathy. He bit, posting a rant about her betrayal. The art community, still sour on them, pounced, and Claire's memoir took a hit, reviews questioning her sincerity. Lila, now navigating middle school, was my focus. She read parts of Claire's book, her face clouding. "Is Mom lying?" she asked. I was honest, carefully. "She's telling her story, Lila, but it's not the whole truth. I'll always be straight with you." She hugged me, her trust unshaken. I limited her exposure to Claire's narrative, curating her media, her world. Claire's visits were brief, strained. Lila preferred our loft, our life. I was winning, not just against Claire, but for Lila's future. My final move was personal. I attended one of Claire's readings, unannounced, sitting in the back. She faltered when she saw me, her voice catching. Afterward, I approached, my smile polite. "Nice story, Claire, but you forgot the part where you broke us." Her eyes filled, but I walked away, leaving her with the weight of my presence. It was enough, a reminder that I was the architect of her fall, and I'd always be watching. My design was complete, a life rebuilt, a legacy of control. Claire and Ethan were footnotes, their stories crumbling, while mine stood tall. 5 years after the gala, my life is a testament to precision. Lila, now 15, is a budding artist. Her work shown in school exhibits, her confidence my proudest achievement. Our loft is a haven, its clean lines a mirror of our ordered world. My firm is thriving, the community center a landmark, my name synonymous with innovation. I've started dating again, a quiet relationship with a professor who values trust as I do. Lila likes her, and that's enough for now. My heart, once shattered, is mending, built stronger by my own design. Claire is a distant memory. Her memoir faded, its brief buzz drowned by time and truth. She still works at the bookstore, her life small, her dreams shelved. She sees Lila once a month. Their bond fragile, Lila's loyalty firmly mine. Claire tried writing another book, a novel, but it flopped, reviews calling it derivative. My subtle interventions, disrupting her podcast, stirring Ethan's chaos, ensured her comeback never took root. She knows I'm out there, a shadow she can't shake, but she'll never prove it. My tracks are clean, my victory absolute. Ethan is gone, last heard of in Nevada, managing a strip mall gallery, his art forgotten. His ex-posts stopped years ago, his ego crushed by obscurity. I check occasionally, ensuring he stays down. He and Claire were a fire that burned bright, then out, their ashes scattered by my hand. The gala remains a legend in Portland's art scene, a cautionary tale of ambition and betrayal. No one suspects my role. I'm still the sympathetic husband, the steady father, my narrative untouched. Lila knows the truth now, shared over quiet talks. She understands Claire's choices, my response, and loves me fiercely for it. You protected us, Dad, she said once, her eyes clear. That's my legacy. Not the gala's chaos, but Lila's trust, our life's strength. I visit the gallery sometimes, now under new management, its walls free of Claire's touch. It's a reminder of my power, my ability to reshape reality when it fails me. I'm not the man I was before Claire's betrayal. I'm sharper, colder, an architect of outcomes, not just buildings. My revenge was a masterpiece, a structure of justice that stands unbroken. Claire and Ethan thought they could rewrite our story, but I held the pen. As I watch Lila paint, her brush bold, I know I've built something eternal. A life where trust is earned, where betrayal meets consequence, where my daughter and I rise above the ruins, our foundation unshakable, designed by me.